And he couldn't set that groundwork up for that if he didn't have texting skills, if he didn't have pickup skills when he ran into her in order to have and carry a conversation, right? Yeah, back to reattraction though, right? So what you may run into is a little bit like she'll find herself in front of you like, oh wow, like cool, good to see you. And it's a sea of emotions, right? Like she starts off uneasy, like, oh, I haven't seen you in a while. And then you're just totally cool and everything's fine. And you're not acting, you're acting like she's a new girl because you follow my direction. And she just treating her like whatever. And she gets a bunch of like, like, oh, and of course she's had you inside of her body. So she, thinks about all that. And then, you go to reattract and, set up a date or set up a hangout or something. Let's catch up. And then you get some resistance that can happen. So she can turn into maybe more difficult because she's uncertain now. She's like, oh, I don't know. Do I really want to go out? She starts, all the fears start happening. She remembers the good times, but all the fears set in. And so she's going to be looking like, is he the same person I was having toxic fights with? Do I smell toxicity here? Is this the same person that that was really angry at me when we broke up? Is this the same person that I was really angry with? Whatever it is, she's going to be looking for those signs. And so you may have to overcome some objections, right? So the question is, well, how do I overcome those objections? Well, here's how. You behave as if you guys are obviously going to hang out. That's how. And you treat your mental framework as like this is a new thing with somebody almost like, because it's completely unique. So I'm trying to just put a comparison out here so you can have the mental framework. But this isn't someone you were in this dating scenario with who dropped off or had some fight or she didn't like something and now you guys, whatever, right? Or someone you were seeing and it broke up. That's you don't want to put yourself in the old framework. You're in a new framework. But obviously, who she is. Obviously, you have some sort of history. So you can't pretend like that's not a thing either. So mentally, it's almost like it's a person you've known for a while that are trying a new seduction with, a new relationship, right? A new courtship. Okay. It's like, I have history that I've known this person, but what we're doing right now is brand new. All right. So that's how it's approached. But with that, her mindset's going to may drop into the old thing. And she wants to know, like, internally, whether she logically knows it, is this new or is this old because old didn't work? Is he different? He seems different, looks a little different. He looks a little better because he worked on it himself, right? Sounds different, like, right? So there's differences. When you show up with some differences, that's a good thing. Puts her in curiosity mode. As we know from my model that I've presented to you guys before, curiosity is a precursor to seduction. So she's curious. And then from there, it's like, well, I just don't know. So from that point, you just behave like as if this is normally, like this is what would normally happen. Like that this is, of course, we're going to get together and catch up. So in this example, I'm going to show it's like, oh, let's catch up, was basically how it was left. Two people ran into each other, and I conceal, by the way, of course, the names and all that stuff, right? But two people, run into each other. They say, it leaves it with, yeah, we should catch up sometime. Yeah, sounds good, right? And then they go off. So they have a good interaction, and we should catch up sometimes. Okay, so then now here's the texting that'll go back. It goes back and forth. Hopefully you guys can see this. So he opens with, "It's great running into you today." She's like, "Same," smiley face. He's like, "Let's catch up this week. When are you free?" All right. Simple cut to the chase. That's fine, right? They had a good interaction. There's no need to keep bantering with that. He said, "Yeah, we should get together, catch up." And she said yes, gave a verbal yes. in person. So he just goes right to that. Not sure. I got to help my mom with some stuff. So she's just got now she's getting in that uncertainty, right? So remember, I said there's going to be, you can have this uncertainty that'll happen because she saw you, got some good emotions, then got scared of the good emotions. Okay. You act indifferent and like it's fine. You cannot chase her. You cannot, remember the first thing I said in the beginning of the video, you cannot overinvest. That's the biggest mistake that people make. You can't overinvest. You want to keep it casual, but you can't make it sound like you really want to see her, especially if she's the one who broke up with you. That is going to put you in the wrong framework. She won't be attracted to you. And even if she hangs out with you, you'll find yourself in a platonic situation with somebody that you don't want to be platonic with. You'll find yourself trying to seduce somebody who's like, wait a second, I just thought we were catching up. That's obviously not what we're talking about, where you want to be. Now, if you want to be platonic, that's not what we're talking about here, right? Not talking about going out with an ex as a friend or something, or just to get to legitimately catch up and not hook up. But we're just saying if you don't want to be over invested or more invested than she is, or come across like that, that happens, like, let's say 4 or 5 days prior, like the week prior, right? And then the next week he reopens, he sends a meme. Bet your C looks really nice in sweatpants. Then he's just right, stupid, right? Ha, whatever, stupid. And he's like, LOL, but that's not why message. So I need a favor. Do you still have that steam cleaner? Okay. So when a chick is being difficult or pulling back in these situations, one thing to do is to you have to get her to comply and maybe do stuff, either for you or more or less with you. You have to demonstrate authority. You're just supposed to lead these scenarios, and that's what she expects. You demonstrate this leadership where she has it instilled in her mind that she's following your lead when she does things for you, or when she complies to something. All right. And so when you get compliance, she is demonstrating that she trusts your authority and that she's willing to follow. And it starts off with small bits of compliance into larger and larger things. And so when a girl is doing I'm not so sure, I got to go, wash my hair, help my mom, clean my toenails, whatever it is she's telling you, you pull back, and you saw how that pull back went. It was super chill, like, all good, hit me up, little 100, like he's not mad, right? That's it. But then he's going to wait and see if she opens him or, contacts him for anything. She doesn't, which is fine. Okay. Some guys get too hung up on that. And then he just does a reopen. Memes are good. I mean, a couple of, fun ways of reopening is you can do is you can reference a previous conversation. So previous references are good, from if you had talked about something good, reference something funny. Humor is usually good, or even just something random, like, just, hey, totally random, I had a question for you. Asking a question, that's a good way to get compliance. She answers, she's complying by doing that. She does something for you, right? You can, that's going to help you gauge if she's really interested or not. Because she could have had this interaction and then just went, I'm really just not interested. And if she's not interested, she's not going to comply with anything that you're saying. So then, right? If she's unsure, though, that means there's some attraction there. And then when she does comply, what will happen is that you'll get, it'll instill in her mind that you're the person to follow, right? So she sends a laugh or whatever. LOL, cute. So you mean from like 2 years ago, right? Like when they were together or something, right? You go, LOL, don't those things last more than 2 years? Or did you already buy another one? All right. And so kind of referencing maybe something about how she is, but in a humorous, non-simping, you're beautiful, I love you, I want to see you again kind of way, right? Just kind of a little neg, kind of like big sister, little sister vibe there, right? And she's like, LOL, you got me. I bought another one. He's like, ha, I knew it. Well, I need to borrow it. I think this was a GIF, you know what I mean? A little cat or whatever, just whatever, right? She's like, of course, that's fine. And so what he's doing here is what makes this expert level, okay, for reattraction, is he's getting her to comply with something that would make her be a good chimp for compliance. All right. If she wants to, at the very least, demonstrate that she has no hard feelings for whatever happened. That was the vibe from the beginning. Maybe there's some attraction and she doesn't know and she's unsure because of a bad history or because she's in the framework of having rejected him. That's the old framework. And so that crops up and makes her uncertain. But then it's like, hey, do this thing for me because you're a good human. And then she's going to be like, well, I don't want to be a bad human, so I'm going to do this thing for you. But then in the process of doing that, what is she doing? Complying to your leadership and doing something for you, which then brings her investment up. There's different human needs and drivers that cause people to make decisions. And you can use one human need to stimulate another, as in this case. The human need of not being a bad person stimulates her to react and qualify to him and do something for him, which then stimulates the feelings of attraction, investment, desire that she was confused about. It wasn't desire that caused her to do the thing, but by doing the thing, desire starts happening because of now what follows doing the thing is the investment. And the investment makes the mind go, well, why are we investing? And there's history and sexual history that at one time was decent. So that's been imprinted as well. The confusion of I don't know if I should go with him or not gets sort of overridden by this shift that happens psychologically, right? And so she's like being just a good human, of course that's fine. And if she was going to be a, screw you, right, or whatever, well then he knows that she's still hung up in a bad way and it's probably not good. And that this is not no guarantee. Let me say this is no guarantee now that you're just going to hook back up with your the person that you blew it with or something because she's complying and being a nice girl. But it can lead to that if the rest of the things are in line. If she's in a state of absolutely no effing way, but he's not a bad person, and sure, right, I would help him out as a human being, but absolutely no way, shape, or form would I ever get back with him. If that's her mindset, you're not going to really change that probably. But most of the time that's not, because if there's a sexual history and she liked it, okay, this is why women have to have strong boundaries with exes when they're in relationships with guys, even if they think, well, I wouldn't do anything wrong. Well, all right, your mind can play tricks on you. And because there once was a history, and if that history was good enough at one time, usually it's not in a hell no, would never do it again framework. It's usually in a framework of not sure, probably not. It could be in a probably not, or it could just be not, I don't know, I'm not really sure, and that uncertainty on her part. Well, that's where your leadership takes over. But you can't establish leadership by going in and saying, hey, I'm the boss. Do you remember me? You have to get her to actually follow your lead. And that's what compliance is, right? So you see what he did here, though, right? He got her to comply and to be a good person. Like, yeah, I'll let you borrow it. Okay, cool. Like, meet up later today. Like, thanks so much. Meet up today. Yeah, sure. Hey, why don't you come by for a drink? And so now what he's using is kind of a ruse. All right. And so, and the ruses are good. See, when women sleep with people, they can't be their fault. Right. And we know this. We know that it can't be her fault when she says sleeps with the guy that she broke up with and is mad at him. It has to be his fault. It can't be her fault. You know what I mean? And so it's like, yeah, come over. And it's like, even in a new girl, that's a thing. It's like, oh, like if you're like, hey, come over, let's bang. Okay. She might be like, yeah, maybe, but it's a thing that happens in the instinctual brain. If she has to be sexually open, she has to be vulnerable. Okay. There's more risk for a woman to say yes to sex. And so if you're prior to that, you're not escalated far enough, we'll say, and you just open it up right there, it could stimulate attraction right away and cause her to go for it. That happens. And then she overrides that protective streak. But a lot of times, what it does is, I don't know if I should. The protective streak comes in. Oh, no, I better not. No, I'm going to go home. I'll see you next time. Right. But if you're like, I come over for a nightcap, oh, it's like, I'm not a slut. I'm just coming over for a drink. You know what I mean? She gets to have that. She gets to tell herself the convenient lie to herself that she's only doing this, and she knows what she's doing, right? But it's the game, and that's what makes it enjoyable. It's like, it's what my friend Ryan Stone talks about, how it's like pro wrestling, right? It's like, we know these people aren't really fighting and that there's not this drama, but guys watch it because it's the fact that they're watching something that isn't that, and it's playing itself out. It's like, she knows that she's coming over to have sex, but you know I'll just bring the steam cleaner. But it does give her, of course, that a way out too, right? Like, if she gets there, and this is the safety part, you're balancing out pleasure and what her wants are, which is to bang and have a good time, with her needs of safety, which is your job as a dude. You should be able to make her feel safe, make her feel desire, but also make her feel safe enough, right? To say yes. Too much safety is actually unattractive, but you know, you know what I mean? It's like super friend zone is like, super safe, right? But I mean, she should be a little bit, what's gonna happen next, but not in a bad way, not like fear for her life kind of safety. But yeah, she gets an out now. If she comes over and it gets weird and she doesn't feel good, she can leave. She just came over to loan this steam cleaner. She wasn't coming over for sex. See, it takes pressure off of her if things are not going well and she's not that comfortable, and she ends up not having a seductive situation with him. And she wants that. She wants the option to bounce if it's bad, to friend zone him and keep it platonic if that's where the vibe is, or to jump into bed with them if it's going well. That's what she wants. And so he is being a good male leader, and he is setting those conditions up here. So to review, what he did was reopened, asked her for a favor. Can I borrow this thing? She said, sure, because it's good human stuff. Yeah, I'm a good person. I don't regret, I don't have any resentment over that fight we had on our third date, and then we never called each other back, right? Um, cool. Yeah, yeah. Of course. I think he's cute too, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm a good human, right? Yeah, later today. Yeah, that's fine. Hey, why don't you come over for a drink? And so now there's also that reciprocity thing, where he said, let's come over. And just like we can bring the steamer, we can catch up like we had talked about then too, because they talked about catching up. She doesn't want to be a bad chimpanzee who says, I'll do something, then doesn't. Do you know what I mean? If it was like, hey, just come over and let's hang out. Oh boy, I'm not so sure. And she could play that game. I'm not so sure about if I should come over to hang out, right? But because you see you're striking into multiple drives to stimulate desire, it's actually quite advanced, but it's easy to do at the same time. Okay. And so yeah, so he puts that out there. She goes, okay, lol, actually that'll work. I got some stuff going on right now, but I can be there on 4. See you then. Boom. Okay. And then of course, little hearts and a little toast. So now she's excited about it. That's how that works. That's how seduction works. All right. And that's how reattraction works. And in the pickup course, if you don't have the basics of how to text and move things along, like, this guy knows how to text, dude. That's why that worked. If he sucked at texting women before, or just his game wasn't that good over text, he got in a relationship. Well, she's seeing him all the time. Maybe there's no text game much happening there other than just regular communication. But then the thing breaks off, and now he's trying to re-attract her. That's not the old banter. I know you, you know me. We have sex all the time. Let's text each other stuff. Okay. Even though that stuff is enhanced by having good text communication skills, right? Knowing when to be seductive over text, when not to be, all those things develop in a relation, can develop pretty good when you're with somebody and having, sexual relationship with somebody. But no, he's starting over now with a girl has history with, but he can't just text her like they're together because I mean, he can too. There's some assumption, there's the presumption of you want to see me kind of thought things, but he can't fall into those just old habits. He's dealing with a new situation, and his text game is what's going to carry him through that. His ability to, use this sort of a bunch of tactics here using a ruse, okay, reopener, how he reopened, keeping it, keeping the vibe like cool, humorous, fun, you know what I'm saying? Keep being straightforward also when being honest too, having integrity. Hopefully he needed the steamer, you know what I mean? Or could have used it. And if he didn't, hopefully he'll tell her after a couple of drinks. All right. But I mean, there's a lot of things going on there in that short exchange, not sounding over invested. You know what I mean? Getting her to comply, getting her to come over, tapping into different drivers. These are all things that you learn during the pickup phase as a foundation, and you carry it through a relationship. And so, if you're trying to reattract somebody and your initial skills at attraction weren't that great, and you found yourself just in it with a girl because you're a good guy, right? You're a good guy, you're decent looking, you have higher sexual market value, and you and some girl just ended up sort of together. That's how most of these things happen, and that's fine. Well, it happens. Most of these things happen with guys who are decent value, right? Have decent value and look decent. There's a looks element to it. You couldn't just go out and just reliably get girls to respond to you. You know what I'm saying? That was not that wasn't the thing necessarily, right? You couldn't do that at a reliable level. Well, then you're going to struggle on this reattraction. And so the pickup skills will carry you through, even though you're not picking up, but it's those tech skills, those initial communication skills. It's knowing how to communicate in this very specific fashion where you're inspiring curiosity, being authentic, being yourself, but also, keeping a light, positive, good vibe, having a sense of humor, but then also getting compliance and also not over investing on someone who's not showing as much investment. When she shot down the first time, he was like, all right, just hit me up. Very casually, didn't get mad about it. He was like, okay, or, well, you do you, or, like it wasn't this divisive thing. He gave her the space, dude. She has a right to take her space and she has a right to not hang out with him. She wasn't committed to seeing him that week. And a lot of you guys would get in that situation and your disappointment or aggravation would show through in the text, and then she wouldn't want to see you. He was just very nonchalant, non-pressuring. All right, hit me up. Put a little emoji there that said that illustrated that I'm cool with it, right? Whatever. Very casual. It's cool. We'll hang out. I'm not super invested. I'm not gonna make weird. I'm not gonna put pressure on you don't want. See, he's illustrating all of that. And that what he's creating is an environment that's fun. Okay. A fun environment where the consequences of having sex and having a good time with him um, don't outweigh the reward, right? The reward is greater than the consequences. You're making a consequence free situation. Women sleep with guys because they feel like the consequences are not going to be bad and that they're going to, feel good when they do it. That's why. Okay. Rewards are there, consequences are not, right? In play, right? There's always consequences, but she's not perceiving a negative consequence. So she's not perceiving this bad consequence by going over. You know what I mean? She comes over, make a charcuterie board, all right, have some cocktails, have an ability to actually make a good, not just your normal drink, which is fine, but making a good cocktail like that a chick would like, that she would like. You used to date her, do you remember what she drinks? If not, you kind of suck at paying attention. You should work on that. And then it's like, boom, we're having a good time. Thanks for the steamer. And now seduction can happen. It's a relaxed environment that he set the groundwork for. And he couldn't set that groundwork up for that if he didn't have texting skills, if he didn't have pickup skills when he ran into her in order to have and carry a conversation, right? And seem, you know, happy and in a good mood and demonstrating a different framework than how things were left when she ghosted or stopped calling you or whatever happened. You know what I mean?